Okay. All right. Go ahead.
No, I think Sajeev, you had a question.
Yeah. All right. Sajeev, go ahead.
Okay, Jayakumar, you just talked about the echo coming from my.
I'll mute. I have muted everybody. Go ahead, Sanjeev. You can unmute yourself and start.
Namaste, Jayakumarji. You talked about Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, where you are in a state of, you're wakeful, but there is no thoughts. But what is other? You talked about other Samadhi also, like, is it Savikalpaka Samadhi? So will there be thoughts when you're in that state of Samadhi? So if there is thoughts, then can it be considered Samadhi?
Yeah, good question. So they have divided the Samadhi into two. And so Savikalpaka Samadhi means, there are thoughts, not thoughts willy-nilly, but, most of the time you are Nirvikalpaka, but the awareness is there, the awareness of the Nirvikalpakatvam is there, and there is some free will, and there is the ability to bring thoughts in and takes the thoughts back. Because in meditation, in Dhyanam especially, Dhyanam has a purpose. Perhaps when we come to Dhyanam, we can cover it. And Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. That is the definition of Dhyanam. So the Vishaya is Saguna Brahma. So there is a purpose for meditation, and that purpose requires us to think. The thoughts are required, but thoughts are also subdued. And so that kind of a samadhi where there are not many thoughts, an occasional thought is there, is called Savikalpaka Samadhi. So often many acharyas recommend that, and because some purpose can be achieved by Savikalpaka Samadhi, and Nirvikalpakam also is an enjoyable experience, because we saw it's no different than sleep state, and and that is also very much there, Nirvikalpakam and Savikalpakam. Yeah.
And Jayakumar, what is Saguna Brahma?
Yeah. What is Saguna Brahma? So Brahma, when we say Brahma or Brahman, when we say Brahman, it refers to the Nirgunam Brahman. So Guna means attributes are there. Attributes are there to everything you talk about. There is an attribute. And the only thing, if at all we can use the word think, that does not have an attribute is Brahman. Vastu, Brahman. And when that Brahman is looked upon as Ishvara, then Ishvara is called Saguna Brahma. Because Ishvara also as though has attributes. So power to create, power to sustain, power to bless, so many things are there. So that is called Saguna Brahma. So when I use the word in the context of Dhyanam, and Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. So a mental activity, Manasa Vyaparaha, okay, in which the Vishaya topic is Saguna Brahma, is Ishvara. That activity is called Dhyanam. That is what I had meant at that time. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Deepa.
Kumarji, is the dream state same like when a body dies? That means there is no doer, right? Only experiencer. Is it same like that?
So when you say the body dies, you mean what? Dies as in
Like,
literally
dying?
death.
Yeah, death.
Okay.
Is it like a dream state?
Okay.
Because
So
there is.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, because there is no doer, only experiencer, right?
So yeah, so death, if you want to look at death, see, so your statement that in death, you made a statement that there is only experience, the person. But really speaking, death means even the experiencing is not there. Because the jiva is not there. So there is really nothing happening. Physical functions are stopped. And Sukshma Sharira is not there. No sense organs are functioning. The mind is not functioning. Nothing is functioning. So really speaking, death is a state where there is no function whatsoever. So you can't equate the deep sleep state to the death state, because from death state, from deep sleep state, you can come back to Jagrata Avastha. From death state, you cannot come back to Jagrata Avastha. Correct? Yeah. Can't come back. It would be nice if we had a state. It would be nice. I don't know whether it's nice or not. We can't comment on that. But
So you come back in the next life. In that state, you come.
yeah. So yeah, correct. You do. Yeah.
No, that's not a good thing. No.
You come back.
No next life.
Come back. Yeah.
I don't know if she was referring to the Sukshma Sharira that is going to experience after the body is left over. Is that what she was talking about? Like the experience, the Bhokta state is there for the Sukshma Sharira though after it leaves the body, right?
Yeah. So yeah, next life, wherever that life is, whatever form it takes, Sukshma Sharira.
Will that have experience, Jayakumarji?
Yeah. I mean, after it leaves the body, it will still have experience, right?
So see, how did we define Sthula Shariram, if you remember, if you recall? We said that Sukha Dukkadi Bhogayatanam, we said, Bhogayatanam. So the instrument, or not instrument, sorry, the container in which all experiences are experienced. That is how we saw that, correct? So in order to have an experience, there must be a container. There must be a Sthula Shariram. So without Sthula Shariram, if only Sukshma Shariram is there, then by that definition, experience cannot take place. Experience is ready to happen, but where will the experience take place? That is the question. So both Sthula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram must be there. So whether it is a plant or an earthworm or anything like that, any animal or even a bacteria, microscopic, macroscopic, some body has to be there in order for the experience to be there. Otherwise, it's hard to visualize otherwise, these experiences cannot be talked about.
Because they say after death, like if you don't do some rituals, the Sukshma Sharira will not go to this state or something like that. So it will, I don't know. I mean, they say some things like we perform rituals and stuff. So there is some experience going on is my belief, but maybe it's wrong. Like you said, you do need a Sthula Sharira also for experience. So what is that they're talking about then?
Yeah, so
transmigration, that's what I'm saying. Like experience during transmigration.
So the Sukshma Sharira has departed, and at some time in the future, that same Jiva will, or Sukshma Sharira will appear in a body, and same jiva, we must say, who was there in this previous body, is now taken on a different body. Continuity. That way there is continuity. And so, because that continuity is there, and between the two janmas, between the two lives, we don't know what happens. And we want that life, we want that period between the two janmas for that jiva to be a comfortable life. That is why we do all these rituals. Because that jiva doesn't have the capacity. That jiva is helpless, as it were. Because remember we said Vishwaha. Vishwaha is complete. So if I'm uncomfortable now, I have the capacity to make it comfortable. My life, I have the capacity. But when that body is not there, that jiva is helpless. And therefore, we are doing the rituals to say, may that jiva be happy, and may that jiva, if another life is supposed to be there, of course, if the another life is not there, okay, then that jiva is not there at all anyway. So not to worry. But if the jiva is still there, may the jiva be happy and be given a good birth. Of course.
Happy means that being happy is an experience, right? May the jiva be happy.
Yeah, it's a way of saying. We don't know really what happens to that jiva. To that jiva, we don't know, because body is not there. So, being happy means what? Hey,
benefit of doubt. We don't know really, but we are giving benefit of doubt.
Benefit of doubt we give for 3 janmas, 3 generations. That is why when we look at those who do Shraddha, will tell the names of 3 generations of ancestors. Parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. So just a benefit of doubt that anybody before that is already doing well wherever they are. At some point you have to stop. That's the idea.
So is this similar to your karma experiences? That's how, is that what you're talking about when you say that you're having some experience and you're accumulating some karma? That's what they say, right? And that based on that, you're going to have the next life. And if your karma is bad, then that's what you are going to pay for in your next life. And if you've done well in your past life, then this janma is going to be good. So is that, how does that relate to the experiences that we were talking about?
Correct. So it's all related to karma only. So the Shastram, see, action, reaction. So in physics we have studied that action and reaction are equal and opposite. So at the physical level, that is true. The Shastram adds another component to it. See, physics walks away saying action and reaction equal and opposite. But a person, self-conscious human being is there, then dharma comes into play. Physics doesn't care about dharma. The laws of physics don't talk about dharma. Whether I use a knife to cut the tomato in my kitchen, or whether I use the knife to cut somebody's hand quietly, like they do in Saudi Arabia. I see all this. I've seen videos also. My goodness, it is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So whether physics doesn't care, the same force, and they talk about force and all these things, we can apply physical equation. But my God, cutting tomato and cutting other things are very different. So Shastram says, wait a minute, you can't stop with the laws of physics. I will give you some more laws, LAWS. And that law is called the law of karma. So it says you can't simply take your knife and apply the laws of physics wherever you go. And unless it is the doctor that is operating on you, and even there you have signed a piece of paper saying, yeah, you are, go ahead, open up my body. Unless you have said that, you can't, this cutting using knife on a person is not acceptable. And if you do it, then you are going to get another result called karma. In this case, papa karma. Papa karma. Punya karma, papa karma. If you do something good, then you get punya karma. If you could do something that is not desired by the recipients of that karma, then you will get something called papa karma. Yeah, so that's the basic idea, Ashutosh, that the Shastram or Vedas adds this thing called karma, which is adrishtam. Adrishtam, also called adrishtam. Adrishtam means what? Not seen. You can't see. Yeah. You can't say. Can't see means what? Can't see the cause-effect relationship. Can't see. If I cut a tomato, it is very obvious. I used my hand, I used the knife, and therefore the tomato has been cut. Cause-effect, very clear. But I am going through this experience constantly, problem after problem after problem. Why? If I ask, no clear answer is there. We will just say karma. And something I did either in this life or in the past life is fructifying in the form of an unpleasant experience. That we can say, that we accept. It can't be denied. I don't think anybody can deny it. It can't be proved. That much we can say. It can't be proved, but it can't be disproved also. So yeah, Ashutosh, that's the answer to your question. Yeah, it's all connected. It's all karma-based discussion. Yeah. And so there we say, okay, after this life, in order to exhaust your karma, you have to be born in another lifetime. So this exhaustion of karma is very much there in this karma discussion. And because of the need to exhaust karma, another life is needed. And the only thing that will stop that obtaining another birth is this removal of ignorance that, hey, I am really not subject to ignorance. I am really not a mortal. And that ignorance is what has caused me to do all these things and accumulate all this karma. And that knowledge, it is said, removes all the karma. Removes all the karma.
Right.
So good topic. We will cover it. I think Tattvabodha further there is a topic of karma. So that time we will talk.
One quick question. So when we human beings are conscious, and we can do some that we have learned about karma, we can do something about it. But if in future life, if we are not born as human beings, if we are born as animals, then animals don't have that intelligence to do something about it. So you are in a vicious cycle, right? I mean, you will not be able to improve upon or do anything to improve your future life. So isn't that a vicious cycle?
Correct. It's a good question. So we are crystal clear about one fact. The fact is that non-human animals don't have free will.
Yeah.
So the only thing a non-human animal can do is keep on experiencing. So the two things we talk for a human being. One is doership, another is experiencership. I can do, I can experience. I do, I experience. I do, I experience. For the animal, the doership is not there. Limited doership may be there. Very, very limited. Just enough to, go have food. And that kind of doership is there. I'm hungry, I must eat food. So I must go after food, I must search for food. So that much is there. But beyond that, no more. Not like the human being. Yeah. So, but because the animal does have enjoyership, through this enjoyership, whether it is a pleasant experience or unpleasant experience, or combination of these two, that karma is being exhausted. That is what the karma is being exhausted. So in a way that life is needed. To exhaust a particular type of karma, it requires me to be born as a crab. Why? Because in my past life, I behaved like a crab. I just kept gnawing at individuals. I did not allow anybody to live in peace. Grab, 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 grab. So Bhagavan decided this fellow needs to be his crab mentality. So give him a crab without the kartrutva of doership. Just become a crab. And there also I keep on doing this. So yeah, it's very sad when you think about all this. It actually, we shouldn't discuss karma too much, because if see in one satsang, somebody asked this question to Swamiji, and somebody said, my mother passed away, and what should I do so she can live comfortably, she can lead a good life later on, and can I buy some, they talk about this gemology and all, some gems have this particular power, and so she can lead even better life, this and that. Big question was asked, and Swamiji said this. He said, we have to do certain rituals to pray for the departed person. No doubt about that. Because they were connected to us, so they need to. They helped us, and we helped them. Very mutual, perfect. But he said, don't get carried away by it, saying this and that, because if we start analyzing karma, the answers we hear will be very uncomfortable. Will make us very uncomfortable. And because what will you say? Where is the guarantee that what will happen to a person after death? Nothing. We don't know about our past karma. The person may be a nice human being in this life, but what about the karma that is there? We don't know. That is why we have, some nice person is there, suddenly heart attack, gone. And we say, why should this person come to this kind of an end? We have this in our language. We say it all the time. So karma is very much there, very much active, because we don't take anything for granted. That is why, Ashutosh, we say, Jantunam nara janma durlabham. Among all lives, this life of a human being is difficult to get, and therefore please use it properly. So that is why this dharma is so important, and people, this dharma has to be drilled into. Now, we've got religions which violate dharma constantly, and that is just not acceptable. There is so much to study and understand and learn, and we have to focus on dharma very much, because otherwise there is no difference between me and an animal. So that much we have to be crystal clear about. So that's the reason, Ashutosh, we highlight that this life, because you said that animal life is so unfortunate. Animal is helpless, doesn't have any kartrutvam, and yes, and so that is true. So it appears like a vicious cycle, like you said, but there is a way to break that vicious cycle, and by talking about that vicious cycle only, we can break that vicious cycle. Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's 8 o'clock here. We'll stop with that, and we'll continue with any questions next time.
Thank you, Jayakumar.
So one question I forgot to ask, which is, Swamiji's talk. Swamiji spoke a month ago, and didn't have a chance to ask you, how was the talk? Did you, what was it all audible, and did you feel that you heard everything properly, and there was a Q&A session and all that? How was that?
It was very good.
It was very good.
For me, it was very good.
Okay.
I could hear well. There was no issue.
Okay.
I just had a small issue with the power cut here, so that part I missed.
Oh, was your power failed that time?
Yeah, there was a power failure, so the internet went off.
Okay. Right, I remember that now.
Internet has to be on UPS.
Yeah, it is on UPS, but then the connection from the ISP apparently is not. So that
Oh, okay. He spoke very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So Swamiji, so Swamiji and I were classmates in the ashram. We started studying at the same time. Means 96 when I went to the ashram. He also had visited the ashram for the first time there, having heard of Swamiji, and I remember that very well. We used to do a lot of seva in the ashram and all. And then he used to work with a company called Goldman Sachs and financial services company. And he established the India operation, outsourcing operation for that company in Hyderabad and all. I remember that. And then I think 2005 or so, he decided to call it quits and attended the 3-year course in Nagpur. And then 2008, when I attended a 3-month camp in Coimbatore. So there, by then he had already completed the course, and he was a brahmachari at that time. And then he taught Sanskrit in that camp. And so, very amazing memory and amazing ways in which he used to connect the different shastras while talking. So, very, very inspiring. Good. Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
Actually, next Sunday is the daylight saving starts. So I was wondering whether the classes.
Okay. So which means 6:30 here would be 8 o'clock p.m. for Mahesh in Houston.
8 p.m. I personally have no problem, but I don't know about the rest of it.
And 9 p.m. for Mohini and others. Okay. So would that pose a problem for any of you?
No, that would be better actually.
That's better actually.
Yeah. Later is better.
Correct. Okay. And India, we don't have to worry about all these things. So,
Thank God.
so shall we keep it at the same time?
Yeah, same Indian time. Same Indian time.
Same Indian time. Same Indian time. 6:30 a.m. We'll do that. Thanks for the reminder. See you all next week.
Namaste.
Namaste.